Hello, my name is Tim Bernard, and this is Beyond the Headlines, where we take a much more different look at what is going on in the world around us than you see on the high-priced media. We have a ton to get through. We're never going to get through it all. And there's tons more information on my website. I put up probably 50 to 70 new articles every week. There's always expanding free documentaries and stuff on there. There's some great ones that have been being shown, stuff that they're not going to tell you on the bought-off press because they are paid handsomely they're nothing but propaganda ministers. You have to realize that television is a weapon. And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to use television and the internet while we still can to combat and lessen the enemy's takeover, which is continuing and expanding. And we are the resistance from the Vichy French, also from the Vietnam War for peace, because this is a revolution of love. And remember, knowledge is power. And that's what we're trying to get out here. We're just trying to bear witness to the truth. Because those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. And that is very true, and we're heading into some dark times. It's only a matter of how dark they're going to be. And how dark is it? Well, this is their goals here. This is the Georgia Guidestones. I've personally been there. It's the new 10 Commandments for the ruling elite, which is, people always say, well, who are they? They're the money changers up on top, and it breaks down into much other groups. I have a ton of information on that if you're interested. You can look that up. The other picture is a mock sacrifice of a child that they do every year in Northern California in front of that stone owl. It's called the Cremation of Care at Bohemian Grove. Look it up if you don't know anything about this. This will be happening again at the end of July, just in a couple months. A lot of our leaders from all walks of life will be going there. Every Republican president in the 20th century has been there. That's just a reality. And here's how out in the open it is. The first global revolution. We're looking at it. This was like from way back in the 70s, like 40 years ago. This is a free book online. I've got a permanent link to it. And, this is just the FEMA regions. Just look it up. FEMA regions, U.S. This is a subset. Our country's been broken up into 10 regions because this is their thing. And then this is a guy who helped set up the EU at the end of World War II. People only accept change when they are faced with necessity, and only recognize this necessity when a crisis is upon them. A crisis that these guys bring about, just like they brought about World War II. Just like they brought about World War I, because the money changers financed the Bolshevik Revolution. The money changers financed Hitler. They funded Mao Zedong. They caused the Great Depression. They caused the Great Recession. We have their books. I've got one right over there I've shown many times where they openly talk about it. And as we start out with stuff on the religious end, there's been a rise in exorcisms, and the church is getting involved. This is all prophesied. We were warned about this. The demons at the end of the 20th century would be in peak form. You are under attack. That's the reality of it. You may not know you are, because the number one trick of the devil is that, oh, hey, I don't exist. But the number two method that the devil uses is that I'm not attacking you. For whatever reason, he can hit you with pride. Oh, you're so righteous. Well, if you do any study of the saints at all, you know that they were all tried. They're all tried by the devil. The only people who wouldn't be being tried by the devil is because they've got some other great trial, whether it's physical or some type of a mental intellectual problem. And they wouldn't be watching this show anyway. Our Lord sees what's going on. He gives us the graces to deal with it. All we have to do is avail ourselves of this. And here's another prophecy. What is coming? The triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary and the Sacred Heart of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. They will reign upon the earth, but the earth must be purified. That's what we're going through now. It's not going to be pretty. It's only a matter of how bad it's going to be, because we have fallen so far. We were warned about this specifically in the 20th century, 4 centuries ago, in the early 1600s. It's called Our Lady of Good Success. She talks about the corruption, the Masonic sects, which is like a lower level below the money changers who sit on top, and then there's a bunch of organizations that they use. We don't have time to get into all of that, but on my religious website, we have ecclesiastical Freemasonry. It's well known that the Freemasons do a lot of work in the secular world too, as far as controlling it. I've shown that so many times throughout the years. One of the key things that our mother warned us about is that the people who should have spoken up will fall silent. Woe to you who are leaders, whether you're religious or secular, who remain silent. Because this is not complicated information. But many of you love comfortable lies, comfortable untruths, and you do not seek the truth, let alone bear witness to it. And why are things getting bad? Just as it says, and the key to understanding the book of Revelation is just like Jesus said, Alpha and Omega, first and last. If you read it that way, it starts out with us and it will end with us. And in the middle is their time. And so what time are we roughly looking at? We are entering into the trumpets. The marking of the forehead started formally more than 15 years ago. This is a priest who now has the stigmata. And he was given that mark. The Vatican checked him out and said, yeah, we don't know where it's coming from. It's a supernatural mark. And that's, if you read the Bible, those of you who think this is some devil mark, we're marked first in our forehead. You and I aren't going to get a mark, but we have to believe in God. God is just showing this. This is just a sign for us. Those with ears to hear ought to hear. Those with eyes to see. Here it is. Look around us. And what happens? The angels were sent to the 4 corners of the earth, and God said, oops, wait a minute now. Before you hurt the earth, we need to mark our people. And things are going to start ramping up here. How bad is it going to get? You know, people worry about this global warming stuff. There's another prophecy. The earth is going to get smaller. And, well, people go, well, yeah, you mean from that global warming it's going to raise maybe 20 feet? No, 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 no. There's going to be massive changes in the Earth's surface. These are pictures of some submerged structures around the world. There's one in Portugal that has a base that is 8,000 square meters, and its height is 60 meters. That's like almost 200 feet tall, and it's submerged. So where this place went down probably 300-400 feet. There are massive changes coming because we are sacrificing children on the altar of lust and convenience. That's what abortion is. This is the Pope dealing with some of the poor, letting them into Rome. But now, as I've talked to one of the top cardinals, and I told him that you guys are promoting the money changers' agenda. I've talked to more than one top cardinal. One top cardinal who's for the peace and justice in Rome, Turksman, and then also Whirl from Washington, D.C. I personally told him, I've personally handed him information. And I've also sent every bishop in America information, which you can all see on my websites. And this is another prophecy, that this would happen, that the leadership in the church would go astray. Now, I pray for them every day that they will change. And here they are supporting Obama. How many times does this guy have to lie to them and they'll go along with him? And Soros, that guy was a Nazi sympathizer. And the Ford Foundation, look into what these people do. And of course, it's because they say they want net neutrality. Get over it. The Unaffordable Act, Obamacare. How about Libya? How'd that work out for you bishops? You guys were on board with the business because that was a humanitarian bombing. Baloney. It was the money changers who wanted that. Wake up, have the guts to make a change. And here we go, of course. This is what we were told we would see at the end times. LGBT Catholics owning our faith. There's no problem with not being attracted to the opposite sex. There is a problem with physical relations outside of marriage. And marriage is between one man and one woman. So the bulk of the sexual sins are caused by heterosexuals, because even though they're doing everything to force this down our throat, they've still hardly been able to turn people to the other side. And this is what we were warned about. Another prophecy. Leo the 13th, over about 120 some years ago now, the famous vision he had of the devil being allowed to attack the church for a while, just like he attacked Job. It's the exact same story, only instead of Job, it's the church. And here we have, look at this, is the nuns falling off. And there's some other graphs of it all going down. More in the West. As you know, there is a slight increase over there in Africa where their faith is stronger, actually. And they're not stopping at same-sex marriage. I mean, here's a threesome. You know, I've talked about where they talk about pedophilia. Well, we were born that way. Oh, of course you were. Of course you were. They're coming down on. There are members of the clergy who are fighting the good fight. Let's make that very, very clear. This is the Archbishop down in San Francisco, and the wealthy donors are trying to buy the church. And he so far has been standing firm against what they want to do down in San Francisco. The picture up here, this is a confessional in Notre Dame. How Notre Dame has fallen from its luster. Such a sad story. And then down here is a woman who had, threw a party, a sex party for a bunch of teenagers. Like where they were playing Naked Twister and stuff. Here's the split along, and there was the prophecies about the rise of homosexuality in these times. Here's a bunch of black churches breaking with the Presbyterian Church in the USA. 34,000. And there's more than likely going to be a break in the Catholic Church. That's another prophecy from Akita, Japan. See, and here's a story from the London Telegraph. Pedophilia is natural and normal for males. I mean, give me a break. That's baloney. It's not natural. It will never be okay, ever, period. Whether you're a priest, a bishop, a politician, a rich man, poor man, it doesn't matter. This is a very grave sin. Woe to you who harm children. Obama continues his fight against Christianity. I mean, it's so blatant. The Democrats are so against Christianity. That's all they're doing. It's a lot, and the Republicans allowed it to happen because they work for the same people. Obama's just getting away with it more and more, hiding under his blackness. Oh, I'm black. You got to give me a break. No. A spade is a spade. 2 + 2 is 4. They're destroying the military, doing all that they can. This was a guy, may not have been perfect, but he did try to warn people. He said that his successor would be jailed, and that his successor's successor would be martyred, which is probably pretty close. Now, the one problem with that is that his successor may not have the kahunas to stand up to the problems that we have. So I'm not going to, we'll just have to wait and see if he's really got the new fella. He was the bishop in Spokane. So we'll just have to wait and see if he will stand up. These are some schools that are refusing aid from the government because this is how the government is buying off the churches. They're just coming in, and then they are to take the money. Then they impose their rules. I mean, you're going to have to decide who you serve, God or mammon, God or money. You know, this is what's coming. That's part of the great prophecy about how we won't be able to buy or sell without the mark. Follow the money. It leads to the money changers who Jesus kicked out of the temple. Now so many people serve. This was an article, a kindergarten lesson. 5-year-olds being taught about transgender people. We've talked about some of the other stuff, that they've done. Teaching very young children about masturbation and other things. It's disgusting what these people are allowed to do. And they don't give a damn about gay people. This is all being used. This is social engineering to destroy our country, to destroy our morals. Wake up, people. Stand up. We're turning into China. When I traveled around China, when I would go to Mass in China, I would always look back at the choir loft. There was never a choir in any of the choir lofts. There was always one man standing in the choir loft. And look at this article. This is what's going on. This is how the government is coming in to clamp down on the churches. Because the churches are starting to stand up. Remember, it's primarily the Protestants who have stood up, and they have, I forget what they call it, I report on it every year when they do it, where they stand up and openly defy the government and speak out against them. I've rarely heard anything mentioned in a Catholic church. So rare. So rare. And I've heard hundreds of sermons from priests and deacons. They're silent, just like we were warned. Just like the prophecies, that's multiple prophecies, say that. And now they're trying to anoint Hillary Clinton. Here she is trying to be normal with her shades on at Chipotle. And of course the mainstream media, all they can do is talk about, hey, she's normal. She went to Chipotle and had a burrito plate or whatever. And this is a classic. This was a And we do this every year because it's more like Freudian slips where they actually tell you the truth. But here it is, Clinton's little faux pas where they made a mistake, at least in what they put out on their website. That goes, I fought children and families all her career. Well, and that's what she's done. I mean, I've shown you that clip. We don't have time today to show it about one of these great lefties from MSNBC saying we need to change our attitude on the family. Their whole thing is to break up the family. They won't explicitly tell you at the highest level. It's like Obama. Obama's out there to tell you he's a Christian and he's this and he's for you, the little guy. Well, wait till we get into some of the baloney on that clown. But and here's a little bit of Hillary Clinton's history. In 1974, this is a great thing. You know, with some of her, like this Benghazi Gate, we've gone over that, what that was really about. It was really about smuggling arms. Of course, the Republicans don't even want to touch that. They just want to go into the security and the stand down. They don't want to get into the larger picture because their masters were for what happened, which is, I mean, saw Hannity lying tonight saying that Syria was responsible for the chemical attack a year and a half ago when they were winning. I mean, and I went into that whole thing. But an interesting thing, Hillary got fired from the Watergate committee for fraud and ethics violations. What difference does it make? I mean, what difference does it make? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you want someone who's a poor liar, I mean, this woman is evil. And of course, they're not going to tell you how they destroyed the economy. That was Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton gave us, people go, well, the economy was booming under Bill Clinton and they balanced the budget. No, they didn't do any of that. They allowed it to artificially boom for a little while and Democrats are able to screw us economically better than Republicans because we watch Republicans a little more. Remember, it was a Democratic president who gave us the Federal Reserve Bank, which is legalized counterfeiting. It was Bill Clinton who gave us derivatives and credit default swaps, which were so in debt, it's over $1 quadrillion. I mean, it could never be paid back ever, which is their plan. Don't worry, just give us everything. Because you can't take care of yourself. Let us. Let the anointed ones. They tried to shut down this pizzeria. That was an old one. It's over $800,000 people donated. And then they tried to shut down the people who were trying to help them. These people are ruthless. The Democrats are far more ruthless than the Republicans. And the Republicans are a bunch of total sellouts. I mean, here's Gingrich. Of course, we told you this, not only that he's a traitor, I've showed you that many times, how he openly promotes people that say the Constitution needs to be destroyed. But here he says, yeah, the GOP really doesn't want to repeal Obamacare. Well, no kidding. We told you that from the very beginning before they passed it. This is just theater. It's theater that we have two parties. It's just theater. This guy is a traitor. But hey, evil is called good, good is called evil. He's called a conservative, a patriot. I mean, he'll go on and bash Obama. I heard him. Matter of fact, I got him to admit on tape that he thought the people who said the Constitution needs to be destroyed were great people and the book was worth reading. Oh, and he wrote the foreword to that book, The Third Wave. You can look it up. Okay, so we went through that. Ban all things. They want to completely control our life. Unfortunately, the Boston bomber was just convicted. Unlikely that they did anything. His older brother, who was killed, and here he is, he was the naked man who they caught and then they just murdered. They tried to murder his brother, and then when they couldn't believe that he was alive after he got out of that boat, and they cut his throat right away. And we've done tons of stuff about that. This guy was an asset, a government asset. The Russians had outed him several years before, traveling under fake passports. He was totally known. We made the connection. You can look all that stuff up. It's just, that's history. I'm sorry. And that's one of the things, one of the top spooks said, that you'll know that we've taken over when everything you believe is a lie. And of course, now it's time to help the Iranians as they call for death to America and Israel. Of course, those are guys we can trust. Of course, we need to lift the sanctions and let them have even more money while not doing anything to diminish their capability. Monsanto, these guys are like always in the news. We always have to deal with these guys. What are they doing? Oh, they killed, or because of their pesticide use and their genetically modified crops, the monarch butterfly is like the canary in the coal mine and has gone way, way down in numbers. They're saying like what, about 4 million are all that are around. And you know, this is just an absolute disgrace. And we've got, see, one of the reasons that it was said that, oh, we're going to do these genetically modified crops and stuff, and then we're going to use less pesticide. Well, here it shows that now that they can dump more pesticide on the crops, look at this spike in use from 2000. I mean, that's why I try to get as little as possible, and I only eat strictly organic. I don't eat any corn, because almost all corn is genetically modified, which is bad for you. Let alone, organic can have some of these chemicals on it. I mean, this is so bad. You know, and they talk about CO2. That's what such a joke it all is. And they're laughing at us. How we're all obsessed with GMOs while we think nothing of the poisons. And they don't eat this crap. They might do a little photo op like Hillary, but only the elite, they eat nothing but organic. And like I've told you many times, you can check it out. Monsanto, they only have organic food in their cafeterias. But hey, eat our products. It's good for you. It's good for you. And drink the water. That'll make you feel better because it'll numb you out. Just like it says, the target organs, the teeth, the nervous system. Hey, but it's good for you. We wouldn't try to hurt you guys. We love you. We only built the monument saying we're going to kill most of you. That's what's on the Georgia Guidestones. It says to reduce the population to 500 million. And here's a book this guy wrote like 60 years ago now, where it says through diet injections and injunctions, we'll combine to hurt us. I mean, look it up. Don't believe me. And there's so many. It's not like this is an isolated case. It's everywhere. We do stuff all the time on it. Oh, this was the electric cars that they crushed in when Bush got in. And I support hybrids and electrics and alternative energy 100% behind that. I always have been. And using less energy. It's being artificially suppressed, not only conservation, but also alternative energy is being suppressed by people like Obama. Solyndra, you ever hear of that? 500 million went to his buddies, and all they did is put a sign on a warehouse. Hell of a deal. Here's, they're coming out after Rand Paul, a little cartoon here. You need to cut spending, and of course the government goes, I think I'd like a second opinion. There'll be a short coming out here pretty soon. I had the unfortunate pleasure of listening to the former head of the NSA, General Alexander, speak at Seattle Pacific, and this is part of what Eisenhower warned us about, how the military-industrial complex will get into every facet of our life. And I mean every facet. They are in our churches. They are in the Catholic Church, even though the people I talk to don't admit it. Now, some of them maybe don't even know it is and how they're being influenced. But they're in, I mean, the clergy response teams. It's been on the news. We've played the clips before. Just look it up if you don't believe me. And they're all going to just believe any lies. I mean, they already do. I mean, the whole bishops, I showed you the bishops supporting Obama, of course, for net neutrality, but they all came out and voted to support Libya. And Gaddafi wasn't a great guy, but they got rid of him because they wanted someone worse than Gaddafi. This is their plan. Got some great stuff. The Shakedown of the World, a great little short mini doc. I think it's like less than a half an hour. You should watch that. It's great. I mean, or another one that's been featured. All wars are bankers' wars. Follow the money. Who benefits? And this guy asked him a couple questions, and he was just laughing about 9/11. And he knows what the truth is, because he's not an idiot. He just thinks it's funny. And when I said, his talk was, what was it? Hackers, spies, and freedom. See, it's all, the hackers, the worst hackers are in the government. Spies and lies, that's all these guys do. Remember the quote from Brzezinski, who was a national security advisor under Carter, and had a lot, he's a major player in this globalist operation. He said it used to be a lot easier to indoctrinate 1 million people. Now it's much easier to kill 1 million people. I mean, how nice is that? Yeah, this guy, and the people were sucking it up, the kids. I mean, they just sucked it up. It was really sad to think that they are Christian. And here's some of the things that they're building. These are little robots, little ants and butterflies to flutter around, mini drones. I mean, I've shown you these are real. And we've shown you the ones about the ones making them just like a fly. From the manufacturing company. You can look it up online. There's tons of stuff about it. One that looks like a mosquito. And this was a 2-time Medal of Honor winner, Brigadier General Smedley Butler. I was corrected once about that. Anyway, I mean, he says, war is a racket. And it's just really sad. Here's the old world order, the new world order. See, and actually they could, instead of using that, they could really go back to thousands of years ago. Because it's been the same that long. And we're heading into what we call neo-feudalism for the few who they want to have left. This was a real Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize winner. A few of them have actually been worthy of it. A state of war only serves as an excuse for domestic tyranny. Oh, and how did that Peace Prize winner, our president, do? Let's see just some numbers. Okay, so these are arms sales. So now you'd think that they might have decreased or hopefully at least just held steady under Obama. Because, I mean, he is the Peace Prize president. He's for peace in the world. Well, under George Bush, who is a traitor, who should be in jail for multiple offenses, but they spent $32 billion in 8 years with Bush. For Obama, in just the 6 years he's been in, they're already up to $169 billion. That's over 5 times as much. You see, the Democrats, he hides under left cover. And the lefties aren't going to come out and protest. Well, because it's our man in there. Look, he's giving us gay marriage, and he's letting us smoke pot. I mean, come on. You know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Don't worry about the bombs. They're going to kill us later. You know, and the whole groping at the TSA. You know, we had an article that came out that nothing's changed. Yeah. And, you know, a lot of the guys are just average people, just looking for a job. I mean, I personally haven't had much problem myself. But this goes on. I mean, used to show that picture all the time of the little girl who literally got violated. People sticking their hands in, and it's all to train the children. Because this is a system that's being brought up from the bottom up. And for more war, the Arab League decides to create, this Arab military force. That's a prophecy. Nationwide emergency alert tests causes panic and confusion. You know, I mean, this is what's going on. They want to be able to go into our TVs, go into everything, and just start spouting off stuff. Everything is a crisis. Remember what you should always do? Don't shoot first and then ask questions. Ask questions before you shoot. See, they're going to tell you that, this guy, I mean, nothing has changed. It's just like Nero burning down Rome and blaming the Christians. Nothing has changed. It's the exact same game. We went over to Afghanistan, even though the real criminals weren't over there. And the drug production has soared. And we've done articles about that. And that was the setup for this. Look at the spike in heroin deaths here. Study the opium wars from China in the 1800s. That's how some of our wealthiest people, especially in the Northeast, were all involved in the opium wars in China. And a ton of people over there in England. U.S. generals' Saudi intervention in Yemen is a bad idea. But they're purging the military and turning this into an international force. That's why they've been promoting NATO. Documents. We have the National Guard ordered to consider Americans as enemy forces and adversaries. Been telling you that for almost 10 years. We've been getting documents like the MIAC report back in 2007 that people who supported constitutionalists, people like Ron Paul, were the enemy. Returning veterans, they're the enemies. I called up both of our senators about closing the border. Last summer, when they were just openly, it's flooding in. So, it's so disgusting what is going on and how they're just flooding our country with people. And I don't have a problem with immigration, but it needs to be orderly. They need to be checked for diseases. They need to be checked as criminals. And then we have to take a look at how many jobs we have right now, because a lot of the people that they're allowing in are taking the low-end jobs. We have almost 100 million people unemployed in America. We're destroying our country. I guess 93,175,000 Americans are not working. And it's worse for the blacks, but they've got it. That's what Obama's there for. That's what Clinton's going to be in there, if they can get her in. I mean, what they really wanted, they wanted Clinton last time, and then Obama. But so they don't have complete control over everything. They want you to think they do. We just need to get ourselves educated and stand up. That's all we have to do. That's it. It's really that easy. And there's some good stuff about an ISIS camp right on our border. They say they're operating in all 50 states. And you know, this is how far out it all is. They've said that the Tea Party is going to join up with Al-Qaeda, or now ISIS. It's the same group. And anybody who knows anything about the Tea Party people, they're not interested in joining up with radical Muslims. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. And this is the mosque. This is right across the border. Right where it's wide open. You can just walk across. And remember, when the Republicans, after 9/11, the Republicans had the presidency, the Congress, and the Senate, and they couldn't even build a stinking fence and secure our border. Why? Because it's not what the masters, the money changers, wanted. That's who they worked for. That's who the Republicans work for. That's who the Democrats work for. They don't give a damn about you. They hate me even more because I'm trying to wake people up. This is the reality of it. And you better wake up. Because, as Dante said for you holy rollers, the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in a time of crisis remain neutral. And if you say, oh, well, that's Catholic, and that's not dogma, well, why don't you read the book of Revelation, prophecy? How I wish you were hot or even cold. But since you are lukewarm, I spit you out of my mouth. Just sitting right across the border. And you should take a look at what's going on. They're ramping this up. This has nothing to do with protecting us from foreign invaders. This has everything to do with finding out who's going to be a traitor. The Vichy government. We know what you're doing. This is what the French did. Those who were not collaborators. They marked V's in public. We know what you're doing. But worse than that, I'm just warning you. But Jesus, the guy who died for our sins, he knows what you're doing. He knows what General Alexander has done to our country. He knows what George Bush has done to our country. He knows what the media has done to our country. He knows what Clinton and the Bushes have done to our country. The first families of treason. The U.S. repeals the propaganda ban. And this is old news. I mean, this is a couple of years ago. I'm just reinforcing that they openly admit they're lying. They openly admit that they're propaganda ministers. It's not maybe. Everything on TV is a weapon. The money changers. Like I said, there's a great documentary. It's not featured anymore, but it's in my free documentary section right at the very top. All Wars Are Bankers' Wars. 45 minutes, lays out a great history of the money changers in our country and the wars and why it's all done. Great documentary. Mini-doc. Speaking the truth in deceitful times is a revolutionary act. I mean, if you can't see all the spying, I mean, it's just everywhere. Everywhere. If you can't see that, there is no place to hide. Real men and real women are standing up to this. The last Pope told us it was our duty as Christians to protest this system that is unfolding against us. Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes its laws. Well, of course not. I can buy Patty Murray's are a dime a dozen. Maria Cantwell's. I called their place, but I might be on Patty because I didn't get a response from Patty Murray on the TPP. I think we're going to start getting into some economic news now here, hot and heavy. But that's what it's all about. We don't make a decision. Don't worry about it. We have to just pass a bill. And what I've been telling you for 10 years, China is coming out on top because that's their plan. It's also from Scripture. I've shown that before. But this is, we've got some articles about China as they're getting ready to have this global currency reset. They've been talking about it for a long time, but it's getting close now. We're really getting close. The central bankers in the US and Europe and Asia have created another massive bubble. We have to do like Iceland did and stand up and say no. Iceland now is looking at creating their own central bank. That's what we need to do. If we don't stand up, if we bend over, it's going to be so much worse than it's going to be. I mean, and of course, they're going to be voting on this, probably by the time this is aired, they'll have voted on it. And this is just part of a plan. There's a great little mini doc I'm featuring called The Global Shakedown. I'd urge you to check that out. And here they are admitting, this is the Federal Reserve, admitting that, our stuff really isn't real. Our stats are not, all that real. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and listen to us. Let us rule you. So what does it look, we're going to get into some graphs here. What does it look like is going on here? This was the last crash. Oh. Now it's coming. Oh. This is going back, about 20 years now. The little thing says, does this look like a recovery? That's the Great Recession we had. Here we go. This is the rejection of credit application index. So this was during the last recession. Look at this baby. They're getting ready. Just like I was able to show people before the last one, we were telling people a couple years before that it was happening because they were openly writing about it. They're a little more secretive now, but it shows up in different ways. False flag operations. It's the safest thing that you can guarantee is going to happen again. They're going to do another false flag operation. We just had the anniversary for Oklahoma. That was a false flag operation. It wasn't even close. McVeigh and the outside. There's tons of great information about that. You can look up, there's a big documentary called The Noble Lie. I've got a copy of it. I'm sure you can find most of it, and you definitely find large chunks of it free online. There's so much stuff about it. You really have not tried to do any research if you're buying that stuff. And you see, the reason they blew up that building was because of the daycare. They knew that they would get pictures like this. This is propaganda. Follow the money. Who benefited from that? They raised the police state. They got funding for spooks. It's just insane how much money we are dumping into secret budgets right now. We're in so much trouble. And of course they never mention, we don't want you to see the security cameras. Even today, they're not released. That would show just how many people got out of McVeigh's van. But aside from that, And it is an interesting story. He was supposed to park it inside, but it looks like he bought too big of a van and it wouldn't go in. Because, and why is that important? You see, because the building was blown out. And there's so much evidence of that, but in case, and they found not one, but they found two more large bombs inside the building that didn't go off. I mean, these guys are like Keystone Cops, but the public is even lazier and afraid to deal with the truth. I mean, there was tons of real people who did things. This guy, this is American hero, not that piece of scum Clinton or Bush and all the, and Obama and all these traitors, Gingrich and everyone else who was sold out to the system. This guy stood his ground. This was a real man. He was Cop of the Year. He wouldn't lie about what happened in Oklahoma, and they murdered him and called it a suicide, and a bunch of people just, oh yeah. Yeah, look into his death. Look into this, Yakey, I believe was his name. It's really sad. I can't believe I didn't put his name up there. I'm sorry. Terrence Yakey, I believe, though, was his name. But he was the Cop of the Year, and he was murdered. He called his partner and said, hey, they're following me. And he had a bunch of information he was going to get rid of, give away to the people to expose this system. And I believe they either slit his wrist and he walked a mile and then shot himself in the head, and he might have shot himself twice. I mean, it was so bizarre. I mean, it's so fake. Everything is just, well, it's like that guy said. Everything you'll believe is a lie. No nation could preserve its freedom in the midst of continual war. One of our founding fathers. The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them and do nothing. Albert Einstein. That's Goring's famous talk on how easy it is to get people to go to war. You just call the pacifists traitors and that they're an imminent danger. I mean, it's like you said, it works the same way in every country. I mean, nothing has changed. They use the same game plan over and over and over. False flag operations, been working for thousands of years. They still do it today. And here's Building 7. Yeah, nothing hit it. I mean, it happens all the time. 500-foot tall buildings just fall down magically. Oh, because Obama, that was, for those of you who don't know, that's about 5:20 in the afternoon on 9/11. Nothing hit it. And we've got, you can probably still see the tapes on YouTube and stuff where they have the countdown and they're telling people to get back, the building's going to fall down. So what if it's the only one in history? Don't worry about it. So what if it's a perfect implosion? You can see how it crimps in the middle here. Watch this now. See how it crimps in the middle and then the building folds in on itself. Look at the pictures. It was a beautifully done job. Beautifully done job. Happens all the time. These are some real heroes, and this is, unfortunately I was by myself. This guy had said he was going to help me when I talked to General Alexander, and General Alexander just got this evil smirk and laugh on his face when I talked about some of the real patriots, like these guys, 2,000 architects and engineers who have put their livelihood on the line to tell the truth about 9/11, that the government, the official story, is a complete an utter lie. Now, in the first report, they didn't even mention Building 7, and then they, I think they've given over half a dozen different excuses for why Building 7 fell. And every time they come up with one, it gets refuted. Because there are people in America who care about this country. The fake left-right paradigm. I mean, we saw Gingrich. How much more fake does it have to be? That bloated piece of crap traitor sitting there. I mean, I hope he repents. I hope he repents. Showing you stories how close we are. They're talking about the cashless society and what they want to do. Another Citibank official has talked about, oh man, we need to go to this cashless society. It's coming. That's going to be a huge sign. The first chip will not be the mark of the beast. This is going to happen sort of slowly. But don't take a chip. Once you've taken the chip, it's going to be so much easier for you to take the mark of the beast, and they might even be able to turn the initial chip into the mark of the beast. But it'll be something that everyone will know that they're taking the mark. I mean, I've heard people, churchgoers, say, yeah, I'd take the mark of the beast to eat. There it is. It's about time to abolish cash. Look outside the frying pan, my friend. We are being roasted. The take-home message from 9/11 is that it was Mahatma Gandhi's, the anniversary of his very first protest. It's a Gandhi Institute. Check it out. We must be the change that we wish to see in the world. This is a revolution of love, not hate. But it's just like we were told, and just like doublespeak from '84. Good will be called evil, evil will be called good. Love will be called hate, and hate will be called love. Seek the truth and bear witness to it. This has got to stop. The sacrifice of children on the altar of lust and convenience. Jesus sees what's going on. There will be change. You can take that to the bank. Through prayer and fasting, we can change the world. We can stop wars. Without Jesus, we can do nothing. Even if you completely know this system and are doing everything you can against it, you're really still working for the one who will eventually take over just for a little while. Anyway, there's my website. There's another good website, Infowars.com. They do a lot of good work there. If you want to get a hold of me, there's my contact information. One thing you can do that's really easy, tell people about the show. Monday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Channel 77. Fridays from midnight to 1 in the morning, and also again from 1 to 2 p.m. It's available 24/7. All these shows are available 24/7 online. And remember what my Sioux brothers say, Matakawe we seen, we are all related. And may God bless you, and you have a great week, and wake someone up this week. Goodbye.